Good morning. Man, it's already the end of November. Can you guys believe that? Shoo! Goes by quick. Quick, quick, quick. Good morning, Artwork Studios. No, you are not late, sir. You are right on time. You are right on time. Alright. Here we go. Can't believe it? What, you mean you can't believe you're on time? You're usually on time, aren't you? You're usually on time. Sometimes you're the first person here. Or you can't believe that it's the end of November. Alright. I forgot to do some stuff, so we're gonna, let's see, good morning. We are getting started. We are getting our day started with some coffee. Go and chat. All are welcome to work and chill with us. If you are new, and we'll pin this guy. You know what? I woke up today saying, wait, wasn't yesterday January? You felt like it was already January? Well, we'd already be through Christmas and New Year's and all that fun stuff. You just want to skip over it? No way, man. No way. What are we doing today? I think today is going to be a warm-up problem for Advent of Code. Technically, Advent starts today. You know, like, officially, it's always the Sunday nearest December 1st. So technically, it's today. So we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up problem. Good morning, Arvin. How are you, sir? Sorry, I'm making the Discord event. Next, let's see. It's November 30th. Holy moly. Time flies. Time flies, dude. When will it ever slow down? Probably never. Probably never. Alright, so we've got the Discord event created. Let's do a quick update of the members list because I'm sure we've lost some members. Let's go members list, CD membership monitor, notepad. Okay, never mind, that's not what I want. Notepad. Just wrote a tome in your LinkedIn post comments. Did you really? We talked about that before, people not talking about pay and all that. Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, I shared a post by, I don't know if you guys follow him online. If you don't, you should. If you're in the JavaScript or React world, there's a gentleman who actually lives actually in the same city as me. He lives in Kansas City. I think he lives in a town that's a little north of me, a suburb that's a little north of me. But his name's Corey House. See, now Arvin's already got me distracted. His name's Corey House, and I think he's on YouTube. He's on Twitter. Obviously, he's on LinkedIn. Let me see if I can find this post that Arvin's talking about. Yeah, this one right here. So he made this post yesterday. Where did it go? So this is him. You can follow him on LinkedIn here. Corey House. He's kind of his specialty is in he's focused mostly in consulting around React applications, and kind of JavaScript related things. So if you're in that world, you might enjoy his content. But he was talking about how when he was working, because he runs his own company now, but he was talking about how when he was working, he was doing some contract work, and I'll link the post too. And he was talking about how one of the people that worked for him asked him what his contract work was, and how initially that kind of threw him off guard, but yet actually it ended up leading to a really good conversation, and ultimately helped him like increase his contracting rate. And I just think there's a big missed opportunity here, both personally and professionally, where we don't feel open or comfortable enough talking about money, particularly when it comes to like salary and benefits and just what do you make, what do I make. I mean, obviously you don't have to share it with everybody, but it'd be really great if you had like kind of a network of people that you feel comfortable with discussing those types of matters with. So that's what Arvin's talking about. If you're curious about the context there. All right, members list. It hit the LinkedIn comment limit. Nice. Well, obviously you have some big feelings about this, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think you need to like publicly disclose your salary or publicly disclose what you make like to the internet. I'm just saying, I think you and your friends or your close colleagues can probably help each other out a lot by discussing those things and strategizing with each other, right? About like, well, this is what I think you could make. This is what I've made in the past, right? And instead of existing in this silo where you have no context and no comparables. They do this a lot in the United States with real estate, where like a lot of times the price of your house is based upon the price that other houses sold, right? And so being aware of what your neighbor is selling their house for can help you better position yourself when you're ready to sell. And I think that also applies to jobs in a lot of ways. All right, members list has been updated. We are going to try, one thing we are going to do today, chat, is I set up a station outside my office for making coffee for admin of code. And so we're going to try out that camera setup today at some point in the audio to see what that's like, maybe towards the end of the stream. So just heads up, at some point the stream's going to get a little it's going to get a little different there for a minute while I figure out how all that's going to work. Alright, we've got Discord, we got the stream, we got the pin message, Arvin's here, Artwork Studio's here, and we can jump into it. Also, Steven, I'm making a site for a client right now. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. I've never done any freelance work, so that's wonderful, dude. This has to change. Who is willing to disclose salary? I think people are willing to. I think people are uncomfortable disclosing salary to people they don't trust. So like you have to build kind of a network of friends and colleagues that there's mutual trust, right? That like they're not going to run around town spreading your business. You're not going to run around town spreading their business. Kind of what's that? There's a term for this for like certain meetups you go to have what they call Chatham House rules, I think is the name of it. I think it's a British parliamentary thing. Um, Yeah, under the Chatham House rule, anyone who comes to a meeting is free to use information from the discussion, but is not allowed to reveal who made any particular comment. Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting way of looking at that, right? It's like finding a group of people who are willing to like hang out and discuss this kind of stuff, but under the understanding that like y'all are not gonna. What happens at Fight Club stays at Fight Club, right? And I think that's what makes people nervous to disclose is just lack of trust. Only the ghosts hit early. That's right. Only the goats hit early. Yeah. Plus, imagine meeting someone for the first time and saying, "So, how much you make?" Yeah, it will show value their assets, not them. Yeah, exactly. That's where I think people that's like the soft skills of life, right? It's like that's the same thing with networking. People want to complain so much about not being able to get jobs, and it's funny because people don't start networking until they need a job. And the problem is that's too late. You should have started networking a year, 2 years, 3 years before, because networking is about building relationships, and relationships take time, and you need to be investing in relationships and maintaining relationships all the time, every day, so that you have a network to draw on when you do need it. But you can't wait until you can't I don't what's you can't wait and start training for the marathon the day of the marathon, right? That's not going to work very well. But that's largely how people approach networking. Um, it's like, I just lost my job. Remember me from that one time way back when? Yeah, could you please vouch for me at your company? No, I'm not going to do that. Like right now, I'm technically networking. Yeah, I think networking on the internet's not a bad thing. I mean, that's one of my. I mean, I've said that before. That's one of the best parts about being in the Free Code Camp community is if you join their Discord and you're active on their forums, you would not believe some of the people who started their careers using Free Code Camp and now they work for Microsoft and GitHub. They work for all these big companies and they've done all these cool things like. Um, you wouldn't believe the people that you could interact with or connect with over the interwebs, right? But there is also something to be said though about building a actual real life in person network too, right? Like having a group of people who are geographically located close to you is also super invaluable when the rubber meets the road. When it comes time for you to actually need that network. It's actually for me. I'm more of an introvert, so making friends and maintaining relationships is always kind of it takes a lot of energy and effort for me, but I know it's super valuable and important, so I make a lot of effort to do it. But it definitely doesn't come naturally. Personal training helped a lot with that because personal training forced me to be very personable with people. I had to learn how to carry a conversation and do a lot of that customer relationship management type of thing, um, and work on my interpersonal skills. It really forced me to develop a lot of those extroverted traits that come in handy. I do my networking in Western Net Hemisphere. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially if that's where you want to end up someday. You know, I can see if you're not if you don't work in a Western country or you don't live in a Western country and you have plans to move to one or immigrate to one day, and so that's where you're kind of focused on establishing connections and relationships. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. All right, Advent of Code unlocks in 18 hours. They're actually doing a watch party. I think if you guys want to follow along with that, I'm pretty sure somebody's hosting one. Let me see if I can find the link for it. It's gonna be pretty awesome. About ready to be a nerdy Christmas. Let me see if I can find him. Eric. This is the guy who created Advent of Code. So where's he? Let's see. I think he shared it. Here we go. Looks like this guy's hosting a watch party. He's DJing it for the unlock. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't know. I might How do I? I'm not signed in. Gosh dang it! I'm not signed in. I'm just gonna copy, put that in Discord to myself. And then this is the guy who created Advent of Code if you ever want to follow him. Alright, so, but since 2025 is not unlocked, we're going to do one practice problem from 2024. Looks like day 19 we haven't done. Have we done this one? I feel like maybe we started this and then we didn't finish it. Yeah, I think we started it, but we didn't finish it, so that's probably not fun. We can do day 22? Yeah, we can do day 22. Let's see. How long is this thing? People were telling me like, hey, you should jump to the end of these things, and I'm like, nah, I don't know about that. We gotta read the story. Good morning, Inspire. How are you? All right. How's everyone doing today? Good. Everyone's good, man. Yeah. Or at least I'm good. I can't speak for the rest of the chat, but I'm good. Yeah. I have finally settled with Russ for tomorrow. Laugh my ass off or Zig. Still deciding. Wait, hold on. You said I finally settled with Rust for tomorrow, and then you said wait. Then you literally like unsettled. You unsettled live. Yeah, either one sounds good. I don't know any Zig. I've written a little bit of Rust, not enough to solve admin of code with it. Apparently, there's a bunch of based on my X feed, there's a bunch of drama about Zig. I guess Zig moved off GitHub or something. Yeah. I guess a lot of people are kind of crashing out. I don't know if that's an accurate description. I guess they moved off of GitHub for X number of reasons, and a lot of people are upset about them doing that. They wrote a blog post about it that I read yesterday. I mean, it sounded, all of their reasons for migrating seemed legit, you know? So I don't know. It's weird. Like people get like so bent out of shape about decisions that project leaders and owners make about stuff. It's almost like they're looking for a reason to be upset. Artwork studios, kind of like me. Okay, tomorrow I'll work on my social media. The next day, wow, my portfolio site looks neat. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, though. You know, there's nothing wrong with chasing your interest for that day or pursuing what you want to learn about that day. I mean, if it's not, the thing is, if it's your own free time, if you're not, if you don't have something you're accountable to or someone you're accountable to, like how in regards to how you spend your time, then you can spend your time however you want to spend your time. You know, it's your life. So yeah, change your mind all the time if you want. Tomorrow will be pretty easy. I'm excited for it. You think tomorrow will be easy? What if they just come out of the gate and just like rock us with like a hard one, like right off the bat? You know, they just stump everybody. It's possible they could do it, guys. They could do it. Until the skill issue pops back up. Well, my skill issue is definitely going to pop up at some point in the next 24 days. Okay, this is called money market. Money market. Hey, what's up, Ashuto? Good to see you. How are you? Inspire. I mean, it hasn't been done until now, but would be crazy as fuck. Would love nothing more. I mean, they could. They could just come out of the gate and just like, bam, just slam hard into these like opening salvo is just like flying knee to the groin. Good morning, Mark. Is this the third or fourth day I'm getting you in my feed? It's almost like there's an algorithm. Almost. Almost. Ashuto. Good to hear, man. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Minister of Defense. How are you doing? Arvin, what is your opinion for someone not job ready yet, like me, and already beginning to make noise on socials, writing edgy LinkedIn comments, etc.? I guess my question is like, what do you mean not job ready? Like, you mean you haven't completed the degree you want to complete, or like what? Yeah, I'm not really sure what you mean by not job ready. That seems kind of arbitrary of a decision, you know, because based on our conversations, it seems like you have a pretty decent set of skills and knowledge, you know. As far as like, what do I think about your like leaving edgy comments on LinkedIn? I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong. I think the one thing you have to remember with anything you do online is that anybody can see it, and you have to kind of be, you have to accept the fact that anything you put on the internet's there forever. And I think you want to make sure you show up in a way that isn't going to negatively impact your digital life or your professional life. Like, you don't want to do things that you're going to come to regret later, right? I guess that's my take. Like one thing that I do that probably somebody would say like, oh, you shouldn't do that, is I cuss a lot online. Like I swear in blog posts, I swear in social posts, I swear on live streams and videos, but that's just kind of how I talk. That's how I communicate is I swear. And I swear at work. Probably not as much as I do in my personal life, but I try to still show up genuinely as who I am online. But I think that there's definitely a line there, right? There's definitely like there's a way you act with your buddies when you're doing something as friends in a certain environment, and then there's a way you act professionally in a certain environment. So I think just regardless of like cultural norms and different opinions on things, you just want to be thoughtful about that yourself, Arvin. Like, am I okay with whatever foot I'm putting forward and how I'm showing up here? And if you're okay with that, then you do you. Um, but you just I think want to be mindful of it. Yes, Boston is in the chat. Let's go. Good to see you, man. Um, let's see. Inspire. I think I missed something. Would love nothing more and learn on the go. Yeah, for sure. Learning is great. Volseer, there's people working in industry for years who aren't job ready. Yeah, yeah. Job ready is kind of a loaded term, right? Like, I'm not job ready to some people because I've never written C before. So, how dare how dare I try to write a line of code anywhere else? When I read AOC, I wasn't thinking of anything else than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the axiom of choice. What's AOC in this context? AOC is, how Christians practice Advent every Christmas season, which is like 24 days leading up to the birth of Jesus. Kind of like most people mark those days with some sort of calendar. Like sometimes the calendar will be like a chocolate a day, right? Or there'll be like we did a Lego Advent calendar one year for my kids where each day had a Lego pack that you built. In the nerdy programming world, there's a thing called Advent of Code, which is like every day you get a new puzzle to solve, like a kind of a leak code data structure algorithm puzzle, but it's sort of wrapped in a holiday themed story that evolves over the course of those days. And so that's what Advent of Code is. I just put the link to the website with the about in the chat if you're curious. Wow, Steven, you scared me when you said Volseer. I thought you said Boston. No, I was saying Boston's in the chat because Minister of Defense said he's in Boston. Was it hard to set up NeoVim on Windows? I've tried in the past and I hated it. Yeah, so NeoVim on Windows was pretty straightforward to me. The only thing that became sticky was there was a couple plugins that I used that didn't deal with the Windows path separator very well. Let me see if I can find them. Let's go to my repositories. One was NeoTest Playwright and neotest.net. So these two plugins that I use, I had to fork them because they didn't deal with the way Windows has the different path separator, right? Windows has the backward slash instead of the forward slash. And so there was a couple things I had to patch and fork in those plugins to make them work nicely for me. But other than that, it was fairly straightforward. That was the only real hiccup I ran across. So always happy to help if you run into issues. As a lifelong Christian, I've never heard of Advent. You've never heard of Advent, really? Huh? That's wild. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty common thing. Like people do Advent calendars. Like a lot of people will light candles, or they'll have a specific wreath that they hang for that time of year. By the edgy LinkedIn comment, I mean not playing by LinkedIn typical corporate something, not being toxic, discriminatory. Yeah, exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Arvin. I think just edgy, right, is like connotes like you're kind of pushing back against like the status quo. So I just think you want to be mindful of like how edgy do you want to be. That's all. I for real thought Boston, you remember them, was actually in chat, and I got such a scare I stopped. Oh yeah, Boston Sports Cards. Yeah, he was one of the earlier when I first started streaming on YouTube. He was like one of the earliest people who would hang out in my streams and actually chat and engage, and interact, which was super appreciated that guy. Mark, I took offense at that. I never said you can't be a real developer without knowing C. I said that every backend hardware developer ought to know C because it really helps. Well, I mean, you're welcome to take offense to anything I say, but it's true. There's a lot of people in the software development community who think like to be a real boy, you need to have written C, and I don't really agree with that. Do I agree with you that probably could it help you? Sure. I think there's a lot of things in life that could help you, but your time is limited and you have to decide what you're going to learn and what you're going to focus on. And to date, I haven't decided to allocate time or effort to learning C, you know? And for some people, that's an unacceptable travesty. Uh, so that's why I said that. Good morning, Gotti Python. How are you doing? In engineering, they start with C or C++. Nice. Is that like you mean like in school? That's where they start with? Because for me, I took computer programming 1 and computer programming 2 as electives. I was a biochem major, not a CS major, and those courses started with C sharp. So um, I think the way that CS50 does it is pretty smart. They start people off with Scratch, I think, which is like an MIT kind of no code. It's basically like kind of a visual programming language called Scratch. And then they walk people to C. And then they walk people from C, I think, to Python, which I think is pretty nice. We'll see. Are you talking about the dopes on tech Twitter? Not even them. I mean, there's definitely some actual working engineer. I mean, there's definitely some dopes on tech Twitter, but there's definitely some working. I mean, well, Coding Jesus is probably an example of a developer or software engineer who, like, I wouldn't pass the smell test for him because I can't answer his questions about C++ and C. You know, so I mean, there are people that are in the working world, who are working as software engineers who just they have a certain bar, and if you don't hit that bar, you can't be in the club. You know, I learned long ago though that I don't live my life based on the definition of others. I learned that long ago. I know Go, C, and do Zig now. I want to learn C Sharp because it looks so cool, but it feels like it's hard to use it without IDEs or the ecosystem. I'm a CLI guy, so its tool chain is weird to me. Yeah, there's kind of two right now, in my opinion, when it comes to the C Sharp community. There's kind of two groups of people in terms of like tool chain. There's like hardcore writer or Visual Studio folks, like hardcore IDE folks that do everything from the IDE, right? They never touch the .NET CLI. Then you have a group of people who use the .NET CLI and Visual Studio Code with the C Sharp Dev Kit. Those are kind of the two large groups of people. And then there's kind of like this third group of like crazy weirdos like me who are trying to do the CLI thing, but with a non-standard editor like NeoVim. And I feel like I have a pretty good working setup. There's definitely some things that aren't perfect. Like I don't have support for Razor. So if I want to do anything with like Razor views or Blazor, then I can't really use NeoVim because I don't have an LSP for that. I mean, I can. It's just I don't get all the nice functionality. Uh, but yeah, if you're if you're interested in learning C Sharp and you're a CLI person, Visual Studio Code with the C Sharp Dev Kit is probably your best bet from an editor perspective. But my NeoVim configurations are online. If you ever want to check those out, I'll link those in the chat there for you. There's also a project, I think I mentioned this before on stream, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but there's a project out there called easy.net. that some folks are working on that's meant to try to be kind of a single plugin that you can stick into a NeoVim config, and you just kind of get out of the box support for all the things .NET. There's a couple choices they've made on like the LSP they're using that I don't really fuck with, but like, you know, if you were trying to get started relatively quickly with a little bit of with the least friction possible, might be a good option. People are insane. This is a factual statement. Let's see, Mark. The thing with C is that it forces you to really think about how the hardware works, and so C is just natural for any embedded system stuff or backend stuff. I can totally, like I said, I'm never gonna argue with anybody's opinion that learning C can be helpful. You know, that's like, it's kind of like I would never argue with anyone's opinion that you shouldn't sit in a chair for more than a few hours a day, right? But like at the end of the day, like life is life and your time is limited, and so you have to make choices about what you focus on. Coding Jesus makes awful coworker though. Yeah, I don't know how he is as a coworker. I just see him on the internet and I see his clips and I've watched some of his videos, and I always think like, yeah, one, me and him probably wouldn't be friends, or maybe we would be friends, but for sure he would not look at me as a good software engineer or a good developer, which is fine. I mean, I'm not trying to meet his criteria for that, but I just know there are people out there who would pass judgment on my abilities. Coding Jesus interview questions are terrible in my opinion. He conflates language features knowledge with being a good programmer. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, what's up, Stefan? Long time no see. I actually was about ready to ping you in the Discord server yesterday, and I thought, I wonder, I hope he's okay. We haven't seen him in chat for like a good week and a half. Stefan, I like the mug. Oh, thank you. It's I got this in Breckenridge. We went to Breckenridge 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I know it says Vail, Colorado, but I think I bought it in Breckenridge. But yeah, I like the mug. I took it one day. I went down to the park to work out, and I carried this mug down there with a cup of with coffee in it. And on the way back from the park, I dropped it, and so you can see like I had a big old crack right here that I had to like cement up. But yeah, I like this cup. It's a good coffee cup. A good site for wallpapers. I have no recommendations. Artwork Studios. You aren't a real software developer unless you make your own computer chips, build a computer, write assembly for it, make an OS, and program .NET to code. Yeah, there are people that have like real opinions like that, you know? I mean, I saw this. This isn't new to me though. Like I've said before, I've lived a couple careers now, and when I was in fitness, it's the same situation. You know, it's the same situation in personal training and strength and conditioning, where like certain thought leaders, certain authorities, right? They have certain opinions about certain things you should know or do or be able to talk about, and again, it's like early on I've learned in my life that like if you're sitting around trying to chase someone else's definition of what it is you want to be and waiting for them to give you permission to be that thing, you made a wrong turn somewhere. You know, it's not a good way to live your life. You usually stream when I go classes or when I got classes going, so that's mostly why. Well, dang it. Okay, we're gonna move the stream. We're moving the stream time. Also, I got into wrestling, so not much free time now. Oh, that's awesome. Wrestling's a ton of fun. Yeah, any type of grappling sport, I feel like, is a ton of fun. That's actually why my ear looks kind of weird. I don't know. You guys probably haven't ever noticed before, but one of my ears is all fucked up and looks funny. It's this one, I think. Uh, I had to have. I was in a triangle and I tried to push my way out of the triangle and it like fucked up my ear real bad. I had to have surgery on it. So technically, I've had plastic surgery on this ear to make it look not ugly. Minister of Defense quoting Jesus does quant allegedly, so huge HPC bias, but I feel he mostly publicly humiliates newbies. Yeah, that's the part of his brand that I don't really fuck with, is the humiliation side. Yeah, I just again, going back to like as a dad, you know, I always think about like how would I want someone to treat my sons, and the way he treats some of the people he talks to. I think, well, I wouldn't want someone to treat my sons that way. You know, I wouldn't want to be treated that way. Um, but I mean, again, I don't want to start any beef with Cody and Jesus, so don't, nobody clip this and share it with them, because I'm not trying to start any beef with him. It's just not, he's not my cup of tea and I'm probably not his cup of tea, and that's okay. You know, that's totally fine. Fantastical. I'm about to enter university next year as an undergraduate. I know HTML, CSS, Python, and Git. What's your advice for me? My advice for you is like, you're rocking it. You have a path. Like, focus, go heads down, kill it in university, and come out ready and rolling to, um, rocking and rolling to go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I mean, my only advice for like people in university is I think you should try to do a little bit of your stuff every day. Don't let shit pile up. Like, if you have homework or you have chapters to read, like, don't put it off until the day before the due date. Things pile up too quickly. You get overwhelmed too easily, and then it's difficult to start on this pile of tasks. And so then you don't start, and then you miss homework assignments or you fail tests, or you know what I mean? Like, that's so. And then my other advice for university people would be, make sure you network both within your peer group and outside your peer group. Like, make sure you introduce yourself to your professors, get to know them as people, get to know your classmates. Like, this group of people that you spend the next four years with is going to become, they're going to become engineers or managers, or they're going to end up in industry doing cool things. You don't know which of them are. So you should try to have kind of a big network of folks, because ultimately that's going to be a really valuable asset for you once you're in the working world, to have people who you have relationships with that go back all the way to your university days, which is something I did a terrible job at when I was in university. But those would be the two pieces of advice. Make sure you do your homework, stay up, be consistent every day, and make sure you make time to like make friends, be social, do networking. I'm not saying you need to go out and party every night. I'm saying get to know your classmates, be friendly with them, establish relationships. Better yet, find folks that have similar interests to you, and go from there. Mark, gatekeeping is sad and real in many fields. I'm not saying anything about what anyone should do or learn. I'm saying it's something helpful to do. Oh yeah, we're not. Hey Mark, we're not trying to dogpile on you. We're talking in general. Like, we're talking in general. We're not saying what you said is the issue. We're talking about a whole different set of folks. I make tutorials, but I gatekeep a lot of my methods, to be honest. Huh. I mean, it's your knowledge. You're allowed to do with it what you want. Stefan, I mean, Coding Jesus thinks like he wants to see if someone is ready for a job. So if you say you do, I don't know, C99, he'll expect you to know everything about it. But honestly, I think he is a touch narcissistic. Yeah, I mean, I say I know C# and I know .NET, but I don't know C# and .NET at the level Stephen Taub knows C# or .NET, right? So like, with any topic or knowledge, there's always going to be somebody who knows more than you. You know, with any physical ability, like Stefan, like us, like in the gym, there's always somebody who benches more than you, deadlifts more than you, runs faster than you, is more flexible than you. right? So like there's this there's this constant moving definition that people who have more ability than you can play this game of being like, well, you're not a real engineer until you built a website. And then all of a sudden you build a website. Well, you're not a real engineer unless you wrote the web server yourself. And then, well, you're not a real engineer unless you're running it on a Linux machine. And like, you're not a real engineer. You know what I mean? It's like this constantly moving definition. And that's the part that as a 32-year-old, as someone who's a little bit further down their life or a little bit further down their career and has a family and has kids, that's where I just don't fuck with that. Like I'm not gonna live my life or define my life based on somebody else's thoughts and ideas. Like I'm that's just that way lies madness. No thank you. Nomad Ned clipping as we speak. Oh shit. Next thing you know, there's gonna be a bunch of coding Jesus videos that are like reviewing my GitHub and just tearing every line of the code apart. Nah, he doesn't give a shit about me. I mean, fuck his social presence, him as a creator. I bet he. I wonder if he even has to work anymore. He has such a huge social presence. It's like he's gotta have a way to monetize that to where he didn't have to be an engineer anymore. Yeah, I do agree that he maybe goes a bit deeper than he should, but it also depends on where do you want to be employed, how much does the employer think you should know? 100%. 100%. And so if you're in an interview with him, oh, and thanks for subbing. If you're in an interview with him for a job with his company and he's a proxy for what you need to know, hey, you're in their world, man. You know what I mean? Like it's their world and you're just living in it. So good, good for me at least at this point. I'm not. So I have a job. I don't, I don't have to do it. I don't have to worry about any of that. Usually these types of people are the ones to have never touched code in their lives before. Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's definitely touched a lot of code. It sounds like in his life. So you can't fault him for any of that, right? Like I said, it's just not. He just doesn't. It's not my style. Arvin, Steven, listen. Create a beef. YouTube beefs will blow your channel. Think about it. Google AdSense. Just think about it. So what you're saying is right now I should be like, Coding Jesus, I challenge you to a cage match. Yeah, like Logan Paul and KSI. Just no, thank you. Too much drama. All right, should we write some code? We've been live for 47 minutes. We have written no code. Yeah, I think this sounds like a good idea. Why is your CPU usage so high? I don't know. Let's look. It looks like my CPU usage averages at 4%, and it looks like a couple are working harder than others. As far as usage, it looks like the main process is OBS. OBS, Zen, and then the rest seems pretty minuscule for most other things, just based on what bottom's showing me. If I had to guess, it's probably OBS is the one eating up most of the usage. Although I don't... You consider 4% high CPU usage? That seems weird. I wouldn't consider... I don't think I'd consider 4% high. Maybe recording, yes, forgot how much recording takes. Yeah, so I guess what would you expect? Because just by you saying that makes me think you have an expectation of what it should be at. Oh, individual cores? Yeah, I mean, but average-wise, it's very minimal usage. So, I mean, you have multiple cores for a reason. Steven, you have the programmer scrolling shorts on the toilet demographic. You can't lose a beef. uh, yeah, I mean, my hope is that I have the demographic of programmers who lift weights and do grappling sports for fun. And so then in any beef, we could throw down. Eventually, the stream will become coffee and chat. Yeah. Yeah, we probably should add some sort of multiplier to it. Like, it's like a -1 for coffee or code, a negative or like a +1 for coffee, and then like a +10 for chat. You know, some sort to denote the I don't consider 99% high. Yeah. KS Doc Shinot KS was going through previous shorts. Nice. Well, thanks for going through previous shorts for me. To be honest, gatekeeping tech is justified. For example, I spend 70 hours to learn something that I need 5 minutes to transfer. No one is entitled to that 5 minutes. My 70 hours is what differentiates me and them. Hey, man. People can live their life however they want to live it, you know? Gatekeep, don't gatekeep. I'll just be over here in Kansas in my basement, drinking my coffee, raising my family, saving for my retirement. You know, I think the key to a happy life is like stay in your box, control what you can control. You know, don't let too many external things get into your zeitgeist. Give cauliflower ear to anybody who says quant. Matthew, thanks for subbing, appreciate it. Hey, I'm a quant. All right, I challenge you to a duel. Good morning, Volt. Good to see you. Steven is probably the only guy who codes in his basement that isn't a degenerate. I don't know. Some people may think I'm still a degenerate, but again, like I don't live my life based on the opinions of others. Good evening, Ashuto. You're back again. You were here just a second ago, weren't you? Are you the same person? I tell you what though, guys, when the real advent of code starts, there's no way I'm gonna be able to solve it in the length of my stream if I don't find some more discipline in how I focus on the coding versus the chatting. What do we call this one? Money market. All right, here we go. Let's dive in. You know what's funny? There is 90% chance that the person you transfer knowledge to will undercut your price, become a market destroyer in the next few months in local market. Yeah, I don't look at it like that. I have a very abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. I think I'm totally fine with people taking whatever I know. I mean, I think I'm more worried about folks that have a particular kind of character, not necessarily folks that have a particular kind of knowledge. Like I think a lot of people have the knowledge they need to be successful and they don't execute on it. I think that's far more of an issue than people who have knowledge and don't execute is far more of an issue than people who execute without knowledge. Like I have no issue with sharing the things I know. I think the world is not a zero-sum game, right? Like you winning doesn't mean someone else has to lose. And that's just a fundamentally different, I think, belief maybe than some other people have. Volk, Advent of Code starts today, right? It's the first Advent. So for me, it's still the 30th. I think Advent of Code unlocks in 18 hours, I think. Let me see. We looked at this earlier before you were here, Volk. I'm pretty sure it unlocks in 18 hours. Yeah, 17 hours. So that would be, what would that be? Midnight tonight? Yeah, midnight tonight. I mean, technically today is the first day of Advent. The start of Advent is always on the Sunday nearest December 1st, I believe. If you're going by the official definition. So it'll be November 30th. This year's November 30th to Wednesday, December 24th. But classically, most people just celebrate it as the first 24 days of December. But officially, it starts on the Sunday closest to the first. See if we'll see her. Have a good day, man. Mark, you just made a good argument against capitalism, buddy. Well, you know what they say. I mean, capitalism is a terrible system, but it's better than the other ones. Oh wait, I have a cool idea. Google Translate, but for coding languages. Oh, that'd be a fun project. Although I don't know enough about all the different programming languages to figure out how to translate between them. Let's see. Okay, for me it's tomorrow 6 a.m. Nice. So for me it's tonight at midnight, I think. I agree. I think the lesser problem is the knowledge sharing part. They may and will learn on their own. It's the undercutting on the price that drives me nuts. Yeah, everyone. I mean, that's just part of the marketplace, you know. If you find yourself in a business where it's just a race to zero, well, it may not be the best business, you know. It's like I'd much rather be in the Hermes business, right, than the TJ Maxx business. Which, if you're not familiar, like TJ Maxx is like a discount retailer in the United States, and Hermes is one of the nicest kind of luxury fashion brands. Both have both have big businesses. Both are profitable. Both make money. But there's definitely one I'd rather own than another. You know. All right, let's read the problem. Artworks goes, do you have an AOC join code? Yeah, I do. It's in the Discord. If you join the Discord, I created a channel or a forum for Advent of Code, and there's a private leaderboard post in there with both a link to the leaderboard as well as the join code. Here's the link to our read-only leaderboard. See if I can paste it here. Excuse me. There you go. That's the link to our leaderboard, or my leaderboard. But the join code is actually in the Discord server. I decided I'm not going to share the join code publicly. Well, I mean, somebody could take it from the Discord and share it publicly, but I decided I was only going to post it in the Discord. Volk, hey, my project structure. Oh, yeah, in Excalidraw. Yep. That's the one thing about Excalidraw is, like, you only get one. You have to pay if you want to be able to have multiple copies, or you have to save the different drawings off to files. And so what I end up doing is I end up just having one big large canvas that has a bunch of random stuff on it. It's like a giant scratch pad. Yeah. So it's likely if you ask me to draw something, or if you ask me a question that requires me to draw something, then it ends up in my Excalidraw. Mark, okay, but that's again a capitalism problem. Yeah, capitalism definitely has its problems, for sure. Oh, it says not for private leaderboard codes. I need help, man. Um, it should be the right code. Let me make sure. Like, I'll double check. Let's see, leaderboards. This is, yeah, that's definitely the code. Yeah, it's definitely the right code. I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to join. If you send me a screenshot of what you're seeing in the Discord, I can try to help you figure it out. But it's definitely the right code, and it worked for 4 other people because I see there's 4 other people already on my my board. So no, you sign up, and you'll sign up, and then on your leaderboards page, there'll be a place for you to enter codes so that you can join different leaderboards. I don't think you have to enter it on signing up. What are you drinking, by the way? This is coffee. Yeah, coffee. I don't, which, that's, that's why the stream is named what it is. Because I sit here and I drink coffee and I talk to you guys and occasionally I write some code. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, sign up and then leaderboards page and then enter the join code. Okay, my coffee is fresh. My desk is clean. My apartment too. Time for some lecture about cron jobs and abusing them. Sounds like a wonderful morning, Volk, or afternoon if it's already afternoon for you. So I'm gonna start trying to solve this problem. I think you read my response to Arvin without reading his message. No, I read his message about the price undercutting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying his conclusions that he's drawn are invalid. I'm not sure that I have better advice. I mean, that's an issue. People undercut. I don't know. That's happened since long before I've been around. KS, what kind of coffee was I asking? Oh, most days I'm drinking this kind of coffee. It's I just buy this big bag at the store by this brand 8 o'clock coffee. It is their dark Italian roast. It's like $17 for a big, I think 30-ounce bag. 1-pound bag is like 17 bucks at Walmart, I think. I'm not sure why it's so expensive on their website, but yeah, at Walmart I pay about $17 for a big bag. Like I said, I'm a father and a husband, and so I can't buy the fancy coffees very often. I have to buy what's affordable. That's why I'm super excited for the coffee calendar I got for Advent because it's got a bunch of fancy single origin coffees in it that we're gonna get to sample all along the month of December. So I'm very excited about that. Dang, I should have signed up via GitHub. Yeah, that's how I signed up. All right, money market. This is admin of code, day 22, 2024. Okay, as we're all teleported deep into the jungle, a monkey steals the historian's device. You'll need to get it back while the historians are looking for the chief. The monkey that stole the device seems willing to trade it, but only in exchange for an absurd number of bananas. Your only option... Bananas have entered the chat. Your only option is to buy bananas on the monkey exchange market. You aren't sure how the monkey exchange market works, but most of us aren't sure how the stock market works. The real stock market works. Today, the market is full of monkeys buying good hiding spots. Fortunately, because of the time you recently spent in the jungle, lots of good hiding spots you can sell. If you sell enough hiding spots, you should be able to get enough. Vixter, thanks for subbing, appreciate it. Should be able to get enough bananas to buy the device back. On the market, the buyers seem to use random prices, but their prices are actually only pseudo-random. If you know the secret of how they pick their prices, you can wait for the perfect time to sell. The part about secrets is literal, the historian explains. Each buyer produces a pseudo-random sequence of secret numbers where each secret is derived from the previous. In particular, each buyer's secret number evolves into the next secret number in the sequence via the following process. Okay, so we calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 64, then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. Calculate the result of dividing the secret number by 32, round the result down to the nearest integer, then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. Calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 2048, then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. Each step of the above process involves mixing and pruning. To mix a value into the secret number, calculate the bitwise, is this XOR? Is that how you say that? Bitwise XOR of the given value and the secret number. Then the secret number becomes the result of that operation. So if the secret number is 42 and you were to mix 15 into the secret number would become 37. To prune the secret number, calculate the value of the secret number modulo this guy. Then the secret number becomes the result of that operation. If the secret number is a million, what is that, 100 million? 100 million? You were to prune the secret number. And you were to prune the secret number would become 16,113,920. After this process completes, the buyer is left with the next secret number in the sequence. The buyer can repeat this process as many times as necessary to produce more secret numbers. So if a buyer had a secret number of 123, that buyer's next 10 secret numbers would be this, okay? Oh man, this is a long one, guys. Each buyer uses their own secret number when choosing their price. So it's important to be able to predict the sequence of secret numbers for each buyer. Fortunately, the historian's research has uncovered the initial secret number of each buyer. This list describes the initial secret number of 4 different secret hiding spot buyers on the Monkey Exchange market. If you simulate secret numbers from each buyer, you'll be able to predict all of their future prices. In a single day, buyers each have time to generate 2,000 new secret numbers. Okay, so in this example, for each buyer, their initial secret number and the 2,000th new secret number they would generate are, okay, adding up the 2,000th new secret number for each buyer produces this. For each buyer, simulate the creation of 2,000 secret numbers. What is the sum of the 2,000 secret number generated by each buyer? Okay, so basically we're gonna get a list of numbers. I'm gonna try to summarize what I think the problem is here. So basically we're gonna get a list of numbers. For each number, we need to perform a set of operations to get the next number in the sequence, and then we need to repeat that for whatever number of times. And then at the end of that, we need to use that value to calculate this total. I think that summarizes the problem. So where is our what's our puzzle input? So get your puzzle input. Wow, there's a lot of numbers here. I'm guessing there's some kind of math trick to this though, because this seems like there's a lot of numbers. Seems like we're going to end up doing a lot of calculations, right? So maybe there's some, I don't know what the clever math would be, but I'm guessing somebody out there is like, yeah, you use this formula to do this problem. Let's see. Let's do, this is our real input. So I'll put that here. And then we'll have our example input, which will be here. Also, I'm not ignoring you, chat. I was just trying to get through like the initial setup. So this is the initial secret number. This is our example. And we need to set up our tests. I guess let's start with just let's just see if we can go from 2024 to this, right? So let's do expected this, and we're actually going to pass in solve part 1, and then we're going to pass in the number of numbers to calculate. So let's do number of secrets, number of, oh yeah, simulations is probably a better one, number of simulations. And that's complaining because my method doesn't right now accept okay, so obviously this is gonna fail. Excuse me, this is gonna fail. But it should run now. Okay. Fair enough. Wonderful. Somebody's income is getting taxed by half? That sounds horrible. Oh, welcome to, oh, Germany. Yeah. Taxes are higher in Europe, but don't you guys have like better social programs? Like you have a better social safety net? Uchiha, I think is how you say your username. Which programming language are you coding in? I'm using Go right now. I was going to try to catch up. KS, can you able to have a good night's sleep after drinking a lot of coffee throughout the day while coding? Yeah, I don't have any problem going to sleep. I mean, I don't know if you know, KS, but right now it's 5:30 a.m. where I am. So it's like I'm like when my stream starts, it's 4:15 in the morning. So this is prime time to be drinking coffee. I usually stop drinking coffee maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I never have an issue falling asleep. Please accept my request to join your Discord. Sure. Yeah. And you're all welcome to join. There you go. Approve. You are in the club, my good sir. You are in the club. Let's see, was there anything else yeah, I think that was it. Okay. All right, before we start hammering away on this, I'm going to get some more coffee, and then we're going to try to hammer through a solution. Let's see, we got to split the pane up. And we got to do BRB. BRB. Need to redo the sign for Advent, make it a little bit more festive. Be cool if we could put like some ASCII art on the cup. That might be beyond my ASCII capabilities though. Artwork series. Remember new camera angle, Steven? Yeah, we're gonna try the new camera angle. I've got it set up out in the the basement, like in the other room. So we'll try that out before the end of the stream. But I'm gonna go upstairs and get a shot of espresso, and I'll be right back. Let's see, Volk. Yeah, health insurance in hospitals are more or less free, maybe 10 to 15 pounds for a stay in a hospital. If you lose your job, the state will cover your pay gap, brings you back into the job. Okay, honestly, Volk, and this is something that's changed a lot in me as a person since I was in my early 20s, but I would happily pay way more taxes for both of those things, particularly the health insurance and hospitals. Like, the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical debt, and I would give anything to remove that concern from my life. As a dad with two little kids and a wife, and who are all kind of dependent on me and my income, that's one of the things that keeps me up at night, is the thought that, like, what if one of us got sick, like really sick, like cancer or some sort of long-term, potentially like life-threatening, diagnosis. Because here in the United States, you really have two options. One option is that you go broke and you survive your treatment. The other option is you go broke and you live. So, worst case scenario, for example, if one of my sons was to get cancer, worst case scenario is I'm financially ruined and he dies. Best case scenario is I'm financially ruined and he's alive. Which just seems horrible that really happens to people in the United States. That literally happens to people all the time. So I would happily take higher taxes, to take that off the table. My family knows that guy that you always listen to streaming, that streams every day and doesn't get tired. I mean, I get tired, but it's like it's the beginning of my day, right? So makes it easy to stream. Folk, knock on wood 3 times. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 100%, 100%, man. All right. On that happy note, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some coffee. If you gotta go because I'm leaving, so you're gonna leave, no worries. Thank you for being here. If you're gonna stay, I'll be right back. For fuck's sake, US is sick with the insurance thing. It really is. Yeah, it is sick. Very, very sick. Here we go. Try to solve this guy. I think, for me, I think what makes the most sense to start with is each of the operations that we have to do, right? So it gave us some examples. Let's implement like a mix function and implement a prune function, right? So let's do function mix takes an int number. Also, Copilot needs to go away. So it takes a number and it returns a number. We probably actually want to use some of these numbers look pretty big. So I'm thinking we probably want to use go best type for large numbers. Because there's an int 64, isn't there? Yeah, int 64. I think that's what we'll use is int 64. Int 64 max value. For Pecto, thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, that should be plenty big. So we'll do N64s and go from there. I live in the Netherlands. I pay like 60 euro per month for health insurance, and I'm full cover, dental, physical, eyes, all. Total of insurance 180 to 120 that I get from allowance. That's not bad. Yeah, not bad at all. I pay. Well, my employer pays part of the cost, and then I pay probably a couple $100 every pay period. So 2 times a month, so about $400 probably a month for health insurance. But the thing is, health insurance in the United States is funky, right? Like there's a lot of complexity to what's covered and what's not covered, and what goes under your deductible and what doesn't go count against your deductible. It's a very complex rigmarole of a system. And so the likelihood that you end up kind of strapped with a big financial bill when it's all said and done, especially for very involved treatments, right? Like think of things like, catastrophic crash, or, like I said, cancer diagnosis or anything like that, right? The likelihood that you end up getting yourself into trouble is pretty high. Like I said, the number one cause, I think, of bankruptcy in the U.S. continues to be medical debt. That's a real problem. Good morning, Rampla. Good to have you here. How much coffee do I drink? I probably drink, let's see, this is my second. So I've had 2 shots of espresso today. And I might have 1 or 2 more before the end of the day. Oh yeah, Rampla, you're in Amsterdam. Yeah, nice. Well, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. We're gonna do int 64. Int 64. Okay. So we need to do something with bitwise, XOR, and I don't know actually how to do that in Go. I wonder if it's the same as it is in C#. Go bitwise XOR. The caret. That is the bitwise XOR operator is the caret. Okay, so we need to do something with this. I am the one who leads the chat astray. Yeah. Oh, that's okay though. I don't mind. I really don't mind chatting. It's just I know with Advent of Code we're gonna have to kind of find some sort of balance between our normal chatting and our concentration on solving that problem. You know, there's gonna be some sort of okay, to mix a value into the secret number, calculate the bitwise XOR of the given value and the secret number. Okay, each buyer's secret number evolves into the next secret number in the sequence, giving the following process. Calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 64. Okay, so theoretically, let's just say we have a secret number, right? So let's say we have a secret number, and let's just set this to the first one from our example input to start with. So it would be 2024, right? Yeah, I think, right? Yeah, so let's say we start from 2024 and the next number we're expecting is this one. So let's set this as 2024. To start with. And then he's saying, okay, the next secret number is going to be this, times 64. Right? That's the first step. So calculate the result multiplying the secret number by 64. Then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. Okay. So we have to take the secret number and mix the next secret number into it. So we do, or actually let's do let's just do multiplication result, right? So then we'll say mix result would be then equal to our secret number. So we'll actually need two numbers. So we'll have secret number, and then we'll have what do we have? We have secret number, and then we have the multiplication result is what we need. And these all need to be cast as in 64. And 64. So this is going to be secret number, and then value to mix in. I'm making all this wording up. I don't know. I'm trying to use words from the puzzle to make it make sense to me as I'm thinking about this. Okay, then mix the result into the secret number. So when we mix, we calculate the bitwise XOR of the given value and the secret number. Then the secret number becomes the result of that operation. If the secret number is 42, okay, so we just need to do this then, right? We just need to say secret number bitwise like that. And then let's print format.println. Actually, hold on. Let's just let's run one of their tests. How about that? So we'll do. For now we can print this. We can say .println and mix result like that. But let's go to our test and we'll say main test. So let's do func test mix and then we'll do t star testing.t, and we're gonna say if the secret number is 42 and you were to mix 15 into the secret number, the secret number would be 37. So let's just make sure we have our logic here right. So we'll do result equals solution dot mix 42 13, and we'll say if result does not equal, what was the number it was supposed to equal? 37. Then we'll say t dot error f did not get expected mix result. Whoops. Would help if I could actually write go correctly. Go test. Okay, part one worked, but the other one succeeded, so that's good. So we're doing that right. Hold on. Did it not run that test? I feel like I should see an output when I use -v, right? I should see that. Did I not write it out? Something's not right here. Oh. Should be test mix, not text mix. All right, we did not get the expected result. So what did we get? God, if I can't even do this part of it correctly, what's the hope of doing all the other steps correctly? So did not get expected mixed results. We got 39 instead, and we want 37. Oh, that's because I'm mixing in the wrong value. It should be 15. All right, cool. So we have that correct. So that's how we mix. So we have a function to mix. Now we need a function to prune. So let's say func prune. And let's see what that requires us to do. So prune says the secret number, calculate the value of the secret number modulo this. The secret number becomes the result of that operation. So let's do test int 64. It's going to have a similar signature to this guy. So we'll do prune. And for now, we'll just return 0. And then we'll go to our test file and we'll write the test. So we'll go func test prune. We can actually copy all of this. Copy all of it. And we'll say test prune df and dx. What do you mean df and dx? What are you talking about? I probably shouldn't try to jump into the chat conversation in the middle of it. I'll let y'all carry on. Let's see. We need secret. Let's say this. Okay, calculate the value of the secret number. So let's say the secret number is this. So we'll say then the result should be what? Should be this. Obviously prune doesn't have the right signature. Okay. So that's gonna fail. Did not get expected prune result. Yep. And so we need to modulo by this guy. And I'm guessing the modulo operator is the same in Go as it is in other language. But we should probably make sure that that's the case. Modulo operator in Go. Okay, %B, yep, good deal. Go test. All right, so we have a mix and we have a prune. This is wonderful. And so now we just need to operate. Let's do func run simulation. So this will do a single pass of the steps that they laid out in the puzzle. Arvin, we have solved tax and health insurance problem. Now we are redefining universities. Dude, those are my favorite conversations. Me and my boss at work, we will oftentimes during our one-on-ones, they will dovetail into far off places. And we always end by saying, okay, now that we've solved the world problem, now that we've solved the world's problems, let's talk about our problems here at work. I mean, I'd much rather have a conversation about how to solve health insurance and taxes and how best to define universities than I would want to have a conversation talking about like the mundane, right? Or like what the weather is. But that's just me. I mean, I'm more of an introvert, so I don't do well with chit-chatty conversation. It's not really my thing. I like conversations about stuff I care about, stuff I'm interested in, stuff that I find meaningful. Okay, so calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 64. So basically what we can do is we can say secret number. Or maybe we just, instead of doing that, let's just say it's the current number. And let's give that an int 64 type. Abu, thanks for subbing, appreciate it. And we'll return int 64. Steven, we still have to grind to reach the level of taxi drivers of solving world problems. Yeah, dude. I think a lot of problems in this world don't get solved because people don't want them solved, honestly. I mean, that's my very bleak opinion of it. I think far too many people make far too much money from a lot of the current problems in our world, and so solving them is not really aligned to their interests. Man, look at us. We're practicing good TDD, you know? Look at us. So let's say test run simulation. T start testing dot T. And we could even have so let's do result is going to be equal to solution run simulation, and we're gonna have a number that we're gonna pass in, which is gonna be let's see, current secret number. they give us an example that we can use? So if a buyer had a secret number of 1, 2, 3, the buyer's next 10 secret numbers would be this. So you're telling me if I do 1, 2, 3 through the simulation once, I should get this? Is that what they're saying? Why does that seem not right? Okay. We'll do current secret number. We'll say if result does not equal this guy. Sorry, I keep yawning. I need more caffeine. So if the result does not equal this guy, then we want to fail. T error F did not get expected simulation results. That. You son of a bee, that coffee thing I learned from you is now family drug. I love that. Is that the long black? Is that what you're talking about? The hot water with the espresso on top? Good morning, Ali the AI. How are you? Okay, I'm gonna get some dinner. That sounds like a wonderful plan, man. Dinner sounds delicious. Okay, multiply the secret number by 64. So that's the first thing, right? The first step in our simulation implementation needs to be multiply by 64. So we have current number times 64. Then what do? Then we say, calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 64, then mix this result into the secret number. So we do, so this is where we call mix, and we say mix results equals mix, and we pass in the current number and the multiplication result, right? Then after we mix, we need to prune. Finally, prune the secret number, okay? So we prune. Prune result equals prune mix result. Okay. Now I have to do this again. Calculate the result of dividing this. This is kind of annoying that he basically has 3 steps here, but each step has like 3 steps underneath it. Halal Media, thanks for subscribing. Ashutosh, why do you keep sending messages and then pulling them back? Well, that's good, Arvin. I'm glad you guys like it. Good morning, Ahmed. How are you? Smash the like button and double tap that screen. Now that sounds like a YouTuber right there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel, and today we're gonna I love my kids, and I know they're kids, so they gravitate to particular types of content, and they hate it because sometimes I'll make fun of the way some of the people they watch, some of the YouTubers they watch, how they do their channels, because that's literally what it sounds like. It's like, what's up, everybody, and welcome to my channel today. Today we're going to be going into Fortnite because there's a new Chapter 6 Season 7 skin that we want to try out. And like every little space between every word has been like edited out. So there's literally not like a single second of silence. It's, yeah. I find they really enjoy it. I find it kind of annoying. calculate the result of dividing the secret number by 32. Okay. So we will do division result equals prune result divide by 32. Somebody out there is already looking at this math and being like, hey, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. Okay, round the result to the nearest result down to the nearest integer. Okay, so we need to do rounded result equals math dot floor division result. Okay. So do I need to... So do I even need to do that? If I need to cast this to a float 64, do I need to round it? Hold on, I see there's a new Discord, another Discord member. Give me one sec. I just approved them. Okay, I'll just stick with the cast and then we'll see what happens. Just focus on implementing this. Round the result to the nearest integer. Then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. So I wonder, whenever they say mix this into the secret number, do they mean mix it into the result of the prior, or do they mean mix it into... Okay, now I'm second guessing my understanding. So calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 64, then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. So at this point, if the secret number, let's say the secret number is 1, just for ifs, then the result gets mixed into 1. Then you prune the secret number. So I think the secret number is changing throughout this whole thing. I think we're always just working on the result of the next operation is what I think. So calculate the result of dividing the secret number by 32. Round the result down to the nearest integer. Then mix this result into the secret number. Finally, prune the secret number. So we have to do another mix and another prune. So this would be mix results equal, let's see, mix result 2, and we'll call this mix result 1. And no, I'm very good at naming things. So mix result 2 equals mix I think it's still the current number, but it's the rounded result, I think, is what we're going to mix in. I think. I honestly don't know, guys. We're going to have to run this to see if we're anywhere close. Okay, so then we prune the secret number. Mix result 2. Prune result 1. This is going to be prune result 2. We're getting close here. calculate the result of multiplying the secret number by 2048. Multiplication result 2 equals prune result 2 times 2048. And we mix result 3. Huh. I wonder actually, maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about this more, I think I may be confused. Calculate the result, multiply the secret number by 28. Then mix this result into the secret number. Finally prune the secret number. So we'll do another mix, which is going to be multiplication result 2 mixed with the current number. And then we're going to do prune result 3 equals prune mix result 3. Yeah. So I think I have this wrong, but I'm gonna run this really quick. But I think I have this wrong, but I think I know where I went wrong. We'll go test. Let's see, did not get the expected simulation result. So we got 29939, but we wanted something completely different. We wanted this number. So I think where I've gone wrong in my implementation is I believe I shouldn't be pruning. So I think what should be happening is that this right here, the division, hold on. I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure at all. Good morning, Renee. Yeah, Advent starts tomorrow, correct? Actually, we talked about this earlier. Technically, Advent starts today, but the actual puzzle, the first day of Advent of Code doesn't get released till December 1st at midnight, I think. Okay, I think we need to think about changing the names of some of our variables really quick. So let's do let's just try to think a little bit clearer about this. So we're gonna have step 1, and step 1 is going to involve involves the current number. Let's actually, hold on, let's actually define a variable called secret that will put the current number into. And then we'll do secret times 64, and this will get reassigned to secret. Like this. Okay? Then we're gonna mix. So secret then gets reassigned again when we mix. And so we're going to mix secret, right? Secret step 1. No, that doesn't get reassigned. That's just the step. So we only reassign here once we mix. And now we prune, which prune also reassigns. So secret equals prune secret. And down here we'll return the secret. So return the secret. So that's step 1. Now step 2, what does step 2 look like? Step 2 is going to be the secret divided by 32. So I think this is all the same logic. But the naming things differently, I think, is helping me follow this a little bit better. So step 2 is whatever the current secret is divided by 32. And then the secret becomes... Oh, we actually need to floor this, don't we? We need to do math dot... Well, actually, I don't know if we need to floor it. Since we're using integers, I don't think we need to floor it. I feel like they wouldn't have told us to floor it if we didn't need to. Oops, not math. Not capital math. And then we need to also cast this back to int64. This gets reassigned by mixing secret into step 2. Then we secret prune secret. That. Do we not have enough parentheses? Okay. So that's step 2. So we can delete this. Now step 3 is we're back again to Mark Soft. Thanks for subbing. I appreciate it. Are we all getting along in chat today? All right, step 3 is secret times 248, and then secret gets mixed with step 3. And secret gets pruned. I think that's the exact same logic I wrote. Okay, no, it was off by some amount. Something was different about my logic because that passes now. Okay, so we have a way now to run our simulation. So our main loop, or our main function now just needs to read the file and then perform the calculation. So let's get all of our numbers. So we're going to do input is going to equal file. Do I have a helper over here somewhere? I think I do. Let's see. File dot read lines, and then we'll pass in our file path. That. So this is going to be our input, right? So this is just a bunch of numbers. And then we're going to loop over, and we're going to say for each line in our file, range over our input. And now we'll need to convert these to actual numbers. So we'll want to say secret. Well, actually, hold on. Do we need to... Do we need to actually load all these in? Okay, so these are all so this is these are all the previous numbers, I think. So if a buyer had a secret number of 123, that buyer's next secret, okay, that's fine. So what is our input? For each input, for each buyer, simulate the creation of 2,000 new secret numbers. So each number is whatever kind of the starting number is. Let's see, the list describes the initial secret number of 4 different secret hiding spot buyers. If you can simulate secret numbers from each buyer, you'll be able to predict all their future prices. Oh, so this is a secret buyer, this is a secret buyer, this is a secret buyer, this is a secret buyer. Okay. Yeah. So that means we can call this int 64, and we can say secret buyer number, or buyer secret numbers. Buyer secret numbers. And then what we'll do is for each line, we expect to be able to parse this. So we should be able to say stir convert .atoi. So atoi is equivalent to parse int converted to type int. So how do we parse to an int 64? You can go. See, we're learning. Advent of Code's great because it forces you to learn all kinds of crazy things about a language that you might not touch on an everyday basis. So let's do int 64 parse string to int 64 in Go. This actually might be more difficult in JavaScript because I think JavaScript only has an int 32, right? JavaScript largest number. JavaScript, there are 3 concepts. Yeah, 32-bit. So you could only go up to 2 billion. Yeah, 2 billion. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't actually know. The numbers in these files just look big. So it's entirely possible JavaScript would be fine. Let's see, parse int function. So you say stir convert.parse int, pass your string, it's a base 10, and you want a 64-bit size. Okay. we do stir parse int. We say here's our line. Here is our. We should probably also make sure there's no. So we'll say strings dot split, or no, strings dot trim space line. Then we'll say we want a base 10 number and we want a 64-bit size. And we are going to ignore any error. We're just going to pretend like everything's valid. And then we're going to say buyer secret numbers dot append, and then the num. Wonderful. And then I'm just going to print out the length. So let's say print line. Actually, we can just print the numbers. Noah. Bro, I'm only good at C++ embedded, so I have found myself unable to learn these loose languages like Python or even web dev stacks. So do you think it's wise to advance in C++ only? I think it really just depends on what you want from your career and what you're interested in. You know, it's like, are you only wanting to do embedded work? Well, then you might not really need to do anything else. But if you'd like to have the option to do other things outside of the embedded world, maybe you should pick up one of these other languages. I like how you refer to them as loose languages. That's pretty fun. Yep, and that's our input. Cool. All right, and then we need to pass in the number of simulations. So we'll do. So we'll need a total. We're gonna have to keep track of a total because that's at the end of the day, that's what we want to return. How? I know they covered this in the tutorial, but how to initialize variable in Go as int64? Yeah, so that's the only way is this. Okay, that's fine. I just was curious. So let's say this is an int 64 starting at 0. And then let's go over each. So we'll say for range number of simulations, right? Roshan, thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate it. So actually we need to say for num of buyer's secret numbers, right? Oh, can't forget the range keyword there. Now for each one of these numbers, we need to run the simulation X number of times, right? So this is where we're going to say for range number of simulations. And then we're going to say secret is equal. Actually, let's say initial secret. Initial secret is just going to be equal to whatever that number is. And then every time we run the simulation, we're going to reassign initial secret to whatever we get back from run simulation. So run simulation takes in our initial secret like this. And actually, instead of initial, let's just call it current secret. That's a little better there. And then once we get to the end of our simulations, we are going to take that final one and add it to our total. And that should get us, I think, our answer. I think. I sound so confident, don't I? Noah. Okay. Yeah, I think I hate to... Yo, Daddy, where are you doing the Advent of Code? So, Yo, Daddy, the Advent of Code website's here. I'll put that in the chat. We're doing an old problem just as kind of a warm-up to tomorrow. So we're doing day 22 of year 2024. Which I guess I can share the link to that too, if you're curious. Noah, thank you, bro. Love you, bro. Noah, of course, man, of course. Good luck with your C++. You know, I hate to try to give advice because I don't always have the context to give the best advice. But to me, that's if I was in your shoes and I'm thinking, hey, should I continue to just only write C++? I honestly think the only person that can answer that question is you, based on kind of what you want out of your life and your career. Why does this say... So this is the total. Is that the number I put here? No, it's not the number I put here. So let's say I do this. So this is our expected. Number of simulations is what? 2,000, right? Okay. So let's give this a run and see what happens. Hey, it worked. Let's go. All right, let's see if it works with the larger input. The larger input might... This is very brute force. There must be a clever way to do this with math, because the actual input is very large, and so if you were to change that number of simulations to something that was also very large, I'm wondering... I don't think this would be very good, because this is what? This is basically O of n squared, right? Because the time complexity basically grows if the number of buyer secrets increases and the number or the number of simulations were to increase, right? This becomes very, very time intensive. So there must be a clever math solution to this. I don't think they would... Like, I'm guessing maybe part 2 is like they blow up the number of simulations really, really large or something. But let's try to do t testing.t. No, not part 2. This is part 1 still. And then we'll just change that. We'll just copy this. Paste that in here. We don't know what the expected to be, so I'll just set that to -1. And then we'll do solve part 1. This will be input.txt. And we'll see what happens. Alright, so this was the number we got. 17. This big number, what is that? 17. So three zeros. Another three zeros. That's a million, and another three zeros. Now we're in the so 17 billion, I think, is what we're at this point. Hey, let's go. I know it's so nerdy, but man, the rush of dopamine you get when you solve one of these things, it's peak, man. It's peak. That's good. That's good. Okay, cool. Wonderful. So let's update our file here with what the real expected value should be. Can you do underscores in Go? Like if I do, every programming language should support that right there. That is such a better way to look at numbers with the underscores. Some sort of separator makes numbers more readable. I think anything beyond 3 digits probably should use an underscore. Arvin, tax, insurance, university issues of the world ain't getting solved by their own. No, they won't. They won't get. I don't think they'll get solved in general because I think way too many people. Like I said this earlier. Way too many people benefit from the current state of the world. You know. There's a clip of Barack Obama recently talking about this, which you can think what you want about Barack Obama. I don't really care what your politics are, but he said something that I thought was really true. Was, he said a lot of the world's problems come down to old men who are afraid of death, trying to cling on, right? And I see that all around me. In the United States, at least, I see people trying to want to keep what they have and keep the world the way they want it and the way they like it, and that being largely a hindrance to probably actually solving problems or improving conditions. And so, unfortunately, I think the only way the world ever really change is old people die, new people are born, young people grow up. Young people enter the new generation enters positions of power in decision making, and that's really the only way systemic change actually ever happens, is through the natural turning over of one generation to another. I know it's a very bleak perspective I have. It's very inspiring, I'm sure. I just don't see any different. See you, Renee. Renee Joe Rogan here. Hello, Gun. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Renee, Steven, don't talk real politics. Oh, man, I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about. Shoot, yeah, solve personal problem using political background. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I think most people are way more selfish and way more out for themselves than what people realize or want to believe. No, Steven, it was bait. Don't fall for it. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much interest in politics beyond being like kind of a voyeur and just watching, you know? I mean, I have opinions. I mean, here's the thing. I told my wife this yesterday or the day before, is that as I've gotten older, and now that I have two sons, I feel I have a duty and a responsibility to have opinions. Because if I do not have opinions and if I do not voice them and if I do not make them known, the world and other people are going to shove their opinions into my sons. Other men, other women, other people that I don't know, people that I don't trust, people that I don't understand, are going to try to influence my kids. That is the way the world works. And so I feel my duty as a father is to have an equally loud and large voice to hopefully counteract some of that. I just think as a parent, that's a duty you have. So I don't think as a parent you can sit back and not have opinions. You don't necessarily have to want to change the world, but you need to have some opinions that you can share with your kids that you think are the right ways for them to live their life or approach their life or to tackle their career or to operate in the world. If you leave it up to the world to raise your kid, good luck with that. That's all I got to say. Good luck with that. See you, Arvin. Have a good day. Renee, Steven, you'll lose viewers. That's fine, man. Like I said, I didn't start streaming to get a lot of viewers. I didn't have a lot of viewers before this. I probably won't have a lot of viewers in a year or 2 years, and I'll still be here doing stuff on my YouTube channel, right? So views and subs and all that has never been a motivating factor, and it still continues not to be. Arvin-based take. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. When it comes to being a dad, when it comes to being a father, that's shit that I take super seriously. It's the most important work I think I'll ever do in this world is raising my sons. So I take it very, very, very seriously. Hello, man. I also know C# and some React, but I want to move to DevOps. What you suggest to learn Python or Go? So I don't do much from a DevOps perspective. The guys that I work with at work that work in DevOps, the stuff that they use is very specific to what our company uses, you know? So I think that's something to think about. Wanta98, like for example, when I think of DevOpsy stuff in today's world, I think of a lot of people using cloud infra, and so using a lot of infrastructure as code to facilitate a lot of their DevOps operations. So to me, it's like, I don't necessarily even know I think it would be good to have some sort of scripting language that you can write, right? Like you probably should know how to write some Bash. You should probably know how to write some PowerShell. It probably doesn't hurt to be strong in Python, right? But you probably need to know how to do some of this modern infrastructure as code stuff, just given how prevalent the cloud is. It's just difficult for me to give you much advice just because I don't do that work. There's a guy on YouTube named Network Chuck that I think is probably more in line with maybe a DevOpsy type of content, you know, and it sounds like he kind of has more of a DevOpsy background, because to me DevOps is kind of where like application specific knowledge meets like infrastructure specific knowledge. Yeah, they're the people that kind of bridge those gaps. And so to me, it's like DevOps, it behooves you to be pretty familiar with networking. It behooves you to be pretty familiar with operating systems. And then when you layer on the fact that most people aren't deploying to bare metal servers anymore, most people are using some sort of cloud infra. I feel like Terraform or one of those types of infrastructure as code languages would be super helpful. But if you don't know about Network Chuck might be a good resource for you. I'm sorry I don't have a more depth of knowledge to share there on that one. Gun Highs is pooping. I swear. Someone's gonna have liver failure. All right, we solved. Let's see, we did part 1 of that problem, which is good. I'm curious what part 2 is. That actually seemed a little pretty straightforward. You literally just had to translate their instructions. Let's see. Of course, the secret numbers aren't prices each buyer's offering. That would be ridiculous. Instead, the prices the buyer offers are just the ones digit of each of their secret number. So if a buyer starts with a secret number of 1, 2, 3, that buyer's first 10 prices would be 3065. Oh, interesting. The price is the number of bananas that the buyer is offering in exchange for your information about a new hiding spot. This is this is where almost like part 2 sometimes an advent of code becomes like a whole different problem. Want to thank you very much. Of course, yeah. I wish I had more concrete advice, but I think some knowledge of Bash, PowerShell, Bash, because that's what's available on Linux, right? So if you ever have to do any type of scripting or automation, and the only thing you have available to you is what's baked into the OS, being able to do some scripting in Bash, be able to do some scripting in PowerShell for the Windows side of things, and then maybe you try to get one solid script program language under your belt, maybe a Go or a Python. Pick your flavor of choice. But then I think you also need to be able to write some sort of infrastructure as code and be familiar with the cloud in general. I just so many companies don't host their own hardware anymore, you know? That's just the way of the world these days. Although now it's like DHH is kind of making it hot to move everything back on prem. So who knows? Maybe in 5 or 10 years we'll have swung away from the cloud. I don't know. See you again, Heis. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Unfortunately, the monkey only knows how to decide when to sell by looking at the changes in price. Specifically, the monkey will only look for a specific sequence of 4 consecutive changes in price, then immediately sell when it sees that sequence. So if a buyer starts with a secret number of 1, 2, 3, that buyer's first secret number prices and the associated changes would be all of this, right? So basically we calculate the secret number, we get the ones position, then we calculate the delta between the current and the previous, and we basically need to say if there's 4 consecutive changes in price, meaning changes, so it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, then they sell. Note that the first price has no associated change because there was no previous price to compare it with. In this short example, within just these first few prices, the highest price will be 6. So it would be nice to have the monkey instructions that would make it sell at that time. The first 6 occurs after only 2 changes. So there's no way to instruct the monkey to sell then. But the second occurs after the changes -1, -1, 0, and 2. So if you gave the monkey that sequence of changes, it would wait until the first time it sees that sequence and then immediately sell your hiding spot information at the current price. Immediately sell your hiding spot at the current price. When do you use 6 bananas? Oh, interesting. If the monkey never hears that sequence of price changes from a buyer, the monkey will never sell and will instead just move on to the next buyer. Worse, you can only give the monkey a single sequence of 4 price changes to look for. You can't change the sequence between buyers. You're going to need as many bananas as possible, so you'll need to determine which sequence of 4 price changes will cause the monkey to get you the most bananas overall. Each buyer is going to generate 2,000 secret numbers after their initial secret number. So for each buyer, you'll have 2,000 price changes in which your sequence can occur. Suppose the initial secret number of each buyer is 1, 2, 3, and 24. What is the most bananas you can get? So interesting. So you basically need to, this is like a whole nother problem, and this is far harder than part 1. So you need to calculate all the secret numbers. Then you need to identify, you have to calculate all the secret numbers for each buyer, right? So like, hold on, let me write this down. Okay. So you're going to have a list of numbers for buyer 1, a list of numbers for buyer 2, a list of numbers for buyer 3, a list of numbers for buyer 4. Then you just have one monkey, and that monkey needs to sell, but based on the same sequence. Why am I doing this like pirate software? I cannot write like pirate software. But basically, it's the same sequence. The monkey has to use the same sequence against all the different price changes. And you need to find the sequence that maximizes the total number of bananas. Yeah, that seems tough. I don't even know where to start with that. All right, so instead of doing that, maybe we should test my coffee brewing setup, camera setup. So let me do something really quick. So I'm going to put OBS in studio mode. Let's see, is my camera on? Yeah, the camera's on. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta get my laptop real quick. We're traveling salesman problem? Maybe. I'm not familiar with that problem, Renee. But yeah, maybe I'll tackle this a little later today. But before we get to the end of the stream, I want to try my coffee brewing setup for Advent of Code. So basically, for my Advent of Code streams, what just happened to my display? Did my screen just got really small, didn't it? And somehow I muted myself too. What we're gonna do during Advent of Code is we're gonna start our streams by brewing. Are you gonna make a video about your new coffee setup? Probably not, but I want to bring you guys along in this part of the journey. Whether you care or not, you're coming along for the ride. So we're gonna start the streams by brewing coffee, and then we'll come to the desk to solve the problem. And I need to basically test that setup, essentially. So real quick, I'm going to get my laptop so I can set up a remote for OBS, and then we'll give this a go. Y'all are going to be my guinea pigs. So there's a OBS remote. There's a web-based. Let's see, this guy. So I need to turn on the how do I do that? The Easiest way to control OBS remotely. So OBS, how to enable WebSocket remote control. I don't know how to do that. Open the tools menu in OBS, select WebSocket server settings. Okay, and then enable socket, select a password, choose a port, click OK. I don't think I need to enable. Apply. Allow. Alright, so let me try. I'm going to try to connect to my. I'm going to try to use this to control my OBS remotely from the Brew station. So this is HTTP. We will do WS 192.168.1. Okay. I don't think it worked. Oh, I need the port, don't I? Now we'll try to connect. Oh, it worked. Nice. That's pretty cool. Okay, now let me try to go over to... Although it doesn't look like it is handling the fact that I'm streaming vertically very well. That's pretty cool. But that's fine. So studio mode. Okay. Alright. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up. And man, I have some bedhead going on this morning. All right, you guys are going to help me troubleshoot this, okay? So if things sound funny or not right, I'm going to use you guys as my my technical troubleshooters. Let's see, content. Go to the control room. Alright, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put myself on mute. Here. Oh, actually, hold on. One sec. Alright, now we're going to try something. So we're going to go over here. And I'm going to put myself on mute here. All right, now can you guys see me and hear me? There we go. All right. I probably need to adjust the computer a little bit. Can you all hear me? Okay, you guys can hear me? Cool. All right, so I think this will work. So the plan is to start here in the mornings, make the coffee, start here, then we'll go back into the office and actually write some code. Steven looks a lot more jacked from this angle. Or just is carrying a lot more weight from this angle. Okay, cool. So I was kind of worried about being able, if you guys were going to be able to hear me. That's the part that I was most concerned about. It looks like you guys can hear me just fine. All right, cool. Well, this works the way I wanted it to, so test successful. Till something breaks. All right, we're going back to the desk. I don't know why when I put OBS in studio mode, though, my screen gets really small. Might have to troubleshoot that. But good to know it works. How you doing, Pablo? How you doing? Yeah, we actually haven't done a gym stream in a very long time. A very, very long time. Maybe we need to bring those back. Pablo, which AOC are we doing? We were doing day 22 of 2024. And we had just unlocked part 2, which part 2 like kind of just completely blew the complexity of the problem up. It's some sort of I don't know if it's a backtracking out. It's basically you have to find a sequence that maximizes a value across multiple candidate sequences or yeah, multiple candidate sequences. I don't even know what you would call that problem, but we did part 1, so that's what my goal was. Part 2, I don't know. Paulo, nice. I got my tool to work yesterday. Got to test it and figure everything out today. Yeah, this is our last day to prepare, which also I should probably install that Advent of Code CLI tool that you told me about. Not the one you're building for your TypeScript project, but didn't you? You told me there's, yeah, this one right here. AOC CLI, this one. let's see. Different admin of code users get different puzzle inputs. To download your input and submit your answer, you need an admin of code.com session cookie. To obtain your session cookie, log in to the website, inspect the session value of the cookie that gets stored in your browser. See instructions here. In a file specified via the session file command line option, run environment variable. In a file called Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab this and install it, because I think this will be the easiest way to get the inputs and whatnot down to my local machine. Dude, this is gonna be so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all year. You have to do the cookie grab outside the stream, but otherwise you can test it now before AOC. Nice. Cool, cool, cool. AOC -- version. There it is. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's built with Rust. That's awesome. So let's see if I can grab the session without leaking it on stream. Where were the instructions for this? Yeah, I gotta go. See instructions. Open link in new tab. Oh, that's like, well, I know how to do that. So we can put it in our home directory. So let's new item. Okay. And then let's notepad that guy. Let's take that off stream. I'd like to build something with Rust. That's the next programming language on my list of languages to learn is Rust. It's going well so far. I've been taking a Pluralsight course, and so far it's going well. This is my second attempt at learning it. It wasn't that last year. It wasn't that my last attempt failed. It just my last attempt kind of stalled. But I would like to learn it. Okay, so let's do inspect. We will pop this out into a separate window. Let's see, memory, storage. Then we need to go to date. We need to go back to admin of code. Storage. Copy. I guess we just copy the whole value of that cookie. And then let's see if this works now. So we'll do AOC -- help. Okay. Show admin of code calendar and stars collected. So we do AOC calendar. It worked. I think it worked. Let's see, what else can you do with it? AOC -- help. Calendar. Well, I guess we should pass in last year's to see if it actually works. So we should do AOC calendar years 2024. I don't see any stars though. So I actually don't know if I'm logged in correctly. What's up, Unique UX? How are you? Good to see you, man. Good morning. People who say JavaScript is difficult never try to learn Rust. Rust made me cry. Yeah, I mean to me the part my last attempt to learn Rust, the borrow checker, the ownership concept, that was the part that really was where I kind of stalled. Um, Not because it was necessarily like impossible for me to understand. It just added a weight to programming that I hadn't experienced before because I was having to think about, okay, who has control or who has ownership of this thing, and do I need to pass ownership or not pass ownership? And yeah, it's just a different cognitive load. The console size was too small for the ASCII art. Let me try to make it a little bigger. I just don't know if I'm logged in. Like, I'm definitely being able to make requests. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Pablo's right. Okay, so my session is set properly. Very cool. And then I'm guessing there's something I can do with AOC. Like, let's say I want to get one of the, because I think the biggest thing that will help me is to download the description and input to files. So let's say I want to do, let's make a dir, CD OneDrive, desktop, and let's make a dir test. Let's CD into test, and then let's do AOC download, and we'll give it year 2024, and we'll give it a day of 1. See what happens. Dude, that's awesome. I was doing this all by hand for the last 2 years. I would just copy and paste all this. Pablo, this is awesome, man. Thank you so much for recommending this. That's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So if you are doing Advent of Code this year, this might be a tool you want for your machine. It's called the AOC CLI. I'll put it in the description of my streams too, over the next couple days, so you can find it for yourself. But that's going to save you a ton of time. Ton of time. What's it called? It's called AOC CLI, and let's get the link. You can pass files for the files it creates. Oh, so you can even specify what the names of those files should be. Even better, yeah. Because I think I want to use input.txt, example.txt, and problem.md. I think that's the naming convention I'm going to use. Yeah, in the right folders too. Yep, exactly. So this is the AOC CLI that I was just showing on stream. That's pretty cool. Unique UX. AOC CLI does what real quick? It basically, so you know how like you have to go to if you've done Advent of Code, you have to go to the website and then you have to obviously read the problem, right? And what I was doing a lot of times is I was copying this and converting it to Markdown so I could save it locally. So that way I could work on the puzzles theoretically without necessarily needing an internet connection. And so it'll download the problem, but it also gets your puzzle input for you. So so you can click and get your puzzle input here, right? But if you don't want to have to go through the GUI to get all this stuff, you can just use the CLI to do it all in one fell swoop for you, which is pretty cool. Med, what language are you using right now, Stephen? So what we did on stream today to solve Advent of Code was Go. So this is Go right here. Go is not my main language. It's the newest language that I've learned. I would consider myself primarily a .NET or a TypeScript developer. I do know how to write Python, but I try to avoid writing Python if I can. It's just not my jam most of the time. I've used it a handful of times in the last 6 months for like data analysis stuff in Python notebooks or simple things like that. But for the most part, I try to avoid it. And then we started learning Go November 1st, so I've got about 30 days under my belt of writing Go, and I like it. Yeah, I don't have any. I mean, there's definitely oddities of it, but there's nothing that like makes me say like I wouldn't work with Go, or that I would try to avoid writing Go. And then next after this, I think will probably be Rust. What do you think, guys? Is it possible for a student to get a formal remote job while studying? Probably. Is it like when you say it's possible? Like, yeah, it's for sure possible. Is it highly probable? Maybe less so in today's world now with AI. Maybe more difficult, right? Like a lower probability. But I definitely think if you wanted to get remote work, I mean, remote work has become more and more difficult to get just in general. Like you have so many of these big companies that are doing return to office mandates, which gives a lot of air cover to smaller companies to do return to office mandates, that remote work is becoming less of a thing. It's still a thing, it's just less of a thing, if that makes sense. Like I've thought about that a lot in my job. I have a remote work. I live in the same place where my company is headquartered, but I have the ability to work remotely. And I think that going from a non-remote job to a remote job is always going to be difficult. I think it's a little bit easier if you're already remote and you leverage that into remote work, right? So like let's say you have a job you already have and you start applying, you could aggressively negotiate for remote work as part of the condition of hiring you, because you have all the leverage. I mean, you already have a job, right? So in this scenario, you already have a job. You're not trying to get your foot in the door. So I don't know. It's tough. Jobs are tough. It's all trade-offs, leverage and trade-offs. The example it doesn't do for you, you got to grab that yourself. Well, and that's totally fine. I'll just get that from the markdown file. Pablo, I did the opposite, got a job, then started studying. Hey, looky there. So it's definitely possible. Good morning, Born to Shine. How are you? Good to see you. Unique UX. I freelanced on some really impressive projects for notable companies, but never longer than a 6-month contract. Oh, interesting. Do you do that full time, Unique UX? Do you full time freelance, or do you have like a steady 40-hour week salary job on top of the freelancing? I just don't think. I think you've said before, Unique UX, that you have kids. I don't think I could do full time freelancing with kids. Like I feel like I need the stability and the safety net of having like a steady paycheck, especially insurance. Insurance is a big thing here in the States. It's so expensive to pay for insurance if you're not an employee. I have a remote job, currently doing my master's. I can say depends on the responsibility in company and how hard is school. Yeah. I think that's largely the answer to most things, is it depends, unfortunately. Unique UX, yeah. Well, when I build the interface or design system, they don't need me. Oh, yeah. I mean, would you ever consider, do you like that? Do you like doing that freelance thing? It's tough, man. I feel rich or poor, no stability. Yeah, I don't think I could do that with kiddos. I mean, I loved having a personal training business. I loved doing that. But then when my kids came along, it just felt too risky, you know? So that's why I work a day job. If it wasn't for my family, I'd probably make very different like career and life choices, but the trade-offs are well worth it. What's up, Ahmad? Some legends here? What do you mean? Unique? No, I don't like it. Yeah. I I was talking to, there was a guy that gave a presentation at Kansas City Developer Conference, KCDC, this year. He works for there's a big agency in Kansas City called VMLYR. Are you familiar with them? Unique UX? VMLY and R, I think is the name of the agency. I guess maybe they just go by VML. But there's a dude who works in the front end. So VML is an agency, right? So they do client work, but they have a internal teams that do that client work, and he worked on their. Steven, will you ever pivot to a full-time programmer? Not unless like my work situation changes significantly. Yeah, not unless. Well, let me finish my thought to Unique UX. Yeah, so like he was telling me that he had been freelancing, and then he moved inside of VML for like stability, and he told me it was kind of like the best of both worlds because he gets the dynamicness of a freelance like workload where like he gets to work with a lot of different technologies and a lot of different clients, but he gets the stability of actually being an employee. So yeah, I mean, not to give you advice. I mean, I know you're a grown man. You can definitely figure out your career, but that was a conversation that I had recently that I was like, that makes sense. But yeah, Pablo, back to your question about being a programmer full time. Not unless my work situation changes. I really like the people I work for. I really like my company. I really like the work I'm doing there, and I kind of get to have my cake and eat it too, right? Because I get to go to work, I make decent money, I enjoy the testing that I do there, and then I have plenty of time outside work to pursue all the programming and coding and development stuff that I want. So I think for now I'm pretty happy with kind of my state of affairs at the moment. What's up, Detroit's best hunter? Yeah, I'm not Charlie Kirk. You are mistaken. You are mistaken. Ahmed, I mean, if you get a job in a highly competitive field while you're studying, then you are good. I think you're good as long as you're doing what it is that you want to do, you know? Or maybe at least as long as you're making progress towards whatever it is you want to do, you know? Unique UX. No, I really appreciate it. I will look into it. Yeah, I mean, just from a front end and design perspective, I totally see what you mean because it's almost like every project has a natural end state, right? There's not like this perpetual need for you. But agencies are kind of interesting because they basically they have a need for designers and front end people and even back end people because they're constantly generating projects with long term clients. So maybe agency work would be a good option. Sarvam, hello Sarvam, how are you? Yeah, yeah. Not cool. Not a great. I would agree with Pablo. Not a great first way to show up in the chat. Detroit's best hunter, but I'm willing to give you a little bit of leeway. Maybe you just stop to see if you could get a rise out of me. I mean, you have to be pretty committed to troll my stream now because you have to subscribe and then you also have to wait 5 minutes to troll. So like it's you got to be pretty dedicated. You got to be pretty dedicated. Unique, yes. I build myself out of work and I try to do it quickly. Yeah, I should apply to agencies. You're right. No, I mean, I'm not saying you should. I never want you to think that like I'm trying to tell you what to do with your life. I just thought maybe because I know some people love the freelance grind, right? They like the fact that they have unlimited potential for income and all that good stuff. So I totally respect people that do that type of work. I just know I'm just such a low, like I personally have such a low tolerance for risk in my life at this point with having people that are just, if it was just me, my tolerance for risk would be much higher. But because there's people that are kind of counting on me now, my tolerance for risk is just so low. It's so low. Fantasticals. Hey man, I visited your site. I'm not seeing shit there. I was totally lost. It had no UI. Damn. What site are you talking about? Fantasticals. What website? Mark Mark. I think that says Mark. Mark Tyson maybe. Mark. I'm just gonna say Mark. It's very hard for junior developers to get something remote or on site, specifically when you're a non-English speaker. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've thought about this. Like, if I lost my job, like if for whatever reason my company came to me tomorrow and said we don't need your services anymore, the whole like remote work thing would become a nice to have, but it wouldn't be a mandatory, right? Because then my only focus would be on getting a job, like regardless of what the conditions are. So I feel like if you're going from no job to a job, the key is to like get your foot in the door and to like get the job. And then once you have the job, that's when now you can start having some leverage in future job negotiations, right? Like I kind of feel like that's where then once you have your first gig or you have your next gig, that's when you can start looking and you could be pickier when you're looking, right? Because you already have income coming in. Like now, if I still had my job today and I started looking for work, I could be picky about it, which is what I did this summer when I was looking for jobs. I was picky about it. Like I only wanted these types of companies and these types of fields, working with these specific technologies. I had a very specific salary range. I only was accepting remote offers. Like you can be picky when you already have a job. It's when you don't have a job you really can't be picky, unfortunately. Unique UX chat is weird this morning. No, I think this is pretty normal. The Fantasticals comment was kind of weird, and Detroit's Best Hunter was kind of strange. But for the most part, it's been pretty normal. I agree. It's very hard for juniors to get job now. Yeah, but I'm gonna say what I tell my kids. But we can do hard things. We can do hard things. There, life is definitely full of hard things. But the problem is like calling something hard doesn't mean it now gives you permission not to do it or to avoid it or to not continue to try to succeed at it. You know, like maybe that's like the old athlete in me or the football player in me, but like it, if you get put on your ass one play, that doesn't give you permission to take the next play off. Like, you take the L, you get up, you focus on the next play. Right? Same thing if you win. If you win, you still focus on the next play. Right? So it's like, are things hard? Yes, but like you can't use that as an excuse to sit on the sideline and not participate. Or at least I don't think you can. I mean, you can. People definitely do, but I don't think that's a valid response. I don't think it's a very helpful response. Unique UX. Steven, I know you said you avoid Python. I used to too, but hear me out. You can do really quick prototypes for concepts and then rebuild in React or Next.js or a game engine or whatever. Yeah, Python's great for that, but I personally just think you can iterate just as quickly in TypeScript, especially now that you can do this. Like the fact that you can do echo console.log, and you can do that, and then immediately you can say node index ts and run it. Like the fact that now Node supports TypeScript out of the box, I can prototype and build things and iterate with TypeScript as fast as I can in Python, and I can have static typing. And I know Python has some ability for static typing, but yeah, I fuck with TypeScript more than I do with Python, and I think you can iterate and prototype just as fast in that language as you can in Python myself. Being picky is great. Yeah. That's why the best time to look for a job is when you already have a job. Like then you have the permission to be picky. some motivation from my side. I have zero background in CS. I created 3 to 4 very good projects in less than 2 years, and I got remote job as back-end web dev. Dude, that's awesome. Congratulations, man. You're killing it. You're on the path, and now that you have the job, you have experience, and if you wanted to look for another job, you can be super picky about what jobs you look for because you already have one that's remote. Sounds like it's good to be you, Wanta98. It's good to be you. Unique UX. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah. Node supports TypeScript now, or they call it type stripping. So there's certain TypeScript features like enums that will cause issues for you. But if you're just using like bland types and interfaces, then Node can strip them. And it's on by default now. You used to have to pass like an experimental flag, but if you're using I don't know what version. It's like 23 something or 22 something and beyond. It supports experimental. Let's see, let's see, which versions of Node do I have? Let's see, Invin use 24.1.0. I think it's like 23 and after. Let's see. When did Node start stripping types by default? So it was introduced in 22.6, and then it became default in 22.18. I guess is what. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. 23.6 and 22. Yeah, there we go. 22.18. So when did that get released? 22.18. So since July 31st of 2025. So only about 6 months now that it's supported that. You can't compare TypeScript typing or Python typing to TypeScript. Yeah, it's different. TS is my go-to for everything. Like I said, if I could only write one language again, it would be TypeScript. It really would. We are TypeScript fanboys. Yeah, I mean it's great to have other languages to work with, but man, TypeScript is so convenient to do so many things with. You know, especially if you love to do web development. This is like it's a Swiss Army knife, right? You can use it for all the. And now with what Pablo mentioned yesterday, for those of you that like TypeScript, and you might already know this, but there is this company called OpenCode, and it's also a tool. It's like a coding agent, and they built something called OpenTUI. And OpenTUI is a library for building terminal user interfaces, but it has packages that let you use React and Solid. I think that's the one Pablo said he's using. So you can basically, if you're a web developer and you want to feel right at home building terminal-based UIs, you can now do that using OpenTUI, which is pretty like I still can't get over it. Like you can, this is how you can build a CLI tool. That's awesome. I mean, that's just this is the part of programming and coding and stuff that I just really enjoy. Like that's pretty freaking cool. The documentation is lacking, but they are very responsive in their Discord. That's good. That's good. That's good to know. I just like that this is an option, right? Like theoretically, if you just wanted to stay in TypeScript web dev land, you can stay there. You know, you just live there, man. You don't have to ever leave. I know people think that that's not a good thing, but like I honestly don't care. I mean, life's too short to like always do what other people say. All right, guys. Well, I think I've accomplished what I set out to for this morning. We did, let's see, we solved an advent of code. That was a good warm-up. Pablo, I 100% live there. I love that. Abjeet, thanks for subbing. Okay, so we solved an advent of code for warm up. We tested out the coffee setup, which it seems like that's gonna work. I don't know how well that it's gonna go, but we're gonna try to do it. So starting tomorrow, we're jumping full steam ahead into advent of code. So the format of the stream will be we will brew a cup of coffee, and then we will sit down and try to see if we can't solve advent of code before the end of the stream. I'm guessing some days that won't be possible because I'm not good enough, and some days it will. It'll just depend. We're probably only going to do one part at a time since there's only 12 puzzles for Advent of Code 2025. We're probably only going to do one part a day. That's the plan. So we'll do day 1, part 1 tomorrow, and then the next day we'll do day 1, part 2. That's how we'll split it up. Yeah, and if we fall behind, we fall behind, but we'll try to stay up with it. Filthy Potato, hello, good morning. I had a great Thanksgiving. Got to spend a lot of time with family. It was a blast. Had a great time. So now I'm looking forward to Christmas. All right, guys, let's do the normal wrap up, yeah? So if you're new here and you want to come back and hang out again, my schedule is 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes I'll stream later, like on Saturdays and Sundays. Sometimes I'll go later, but most of the time it's 2.5, 3 hours, something like that. And then if you want to interact with me or chat outside of Discord, or it's outside of the stream, the best place to find us is Discord. So you can head over to Discord. I'd be happy for you to join us there. If you want to follow along with Advent of Code, Advent of Code's website, I'll put in the chat as well. It'll start tomorrow, but you can honestly do the puzzles whenever. They keep the puzzles up basically forever. So if you fall behind or you decide you want to do this later, midway through, you can jump in there. There is in the Discord, we do have a private leaderboard. So if you want to we're not really using the leaderboards to compete, but if you kind of want to follow along with each other to see, maybe Pablo's solved 2 or 3 parts and I'm behind by a part, you can use the private leaderboard for that. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we've accomplished what we set out to for November, so it was a good 30 days of streams. I think, accomplished our learning objective. This was the plan we set out at the very beginning of the month to do, and so I think we accomplished it. We built some projects, some very simple projects, and that will probably continue on. There's some projects we started that I'd like to do a little bit more work with, but we definitely accomplished this one. Right, this was the main one, so I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. All right, guys. Unique UX, it was good to catch up with you as well. Appreciate you tuning into the stream. It was good to see you, man. Pablo, as always, man, appreciate you. Can't wait to have you help me hold my hand through the next 12 or 24 days of puzzle solving. That'll be fun. I see Filthy Potato. Thanks for stopping and saying hi. Sorry you caught the end of the stream here. Mark, good luck with your Java and your TypeScript. Wanton, keep doing the remote job. Sounds like a lot of fun. Wish you all the best. And anybody else that's still here, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and an awesome Monday if I don't see you tomorrow morning. And if it's already Monday for you, have a great rest of your Monday. All right, y'all. Bye, Unique UX. Bye, Pablo. Bye, Filthy Potato. Bye, guys. Bye, chat. Bye. See y'all.